All right. We're about to get in the Word. Who's ready to get in the Word? We're ready to get in the Word. All right, so we about to get in on this topic, right? Can we get the Sabbath from the moon? And how do we know that the Saturday or the seventh-day Sabbath that we do right now is in accordance to what the Most High has always wanted us to be?
We're going to find out how now without the Bible. Nowhere on the Sabbath.
We about to use the Bible. We about to use everything, right? It's going to be undisputable. So I'm just telling you, get ready. And what we got to remember, before I get into this lesson, we know that the Sabbath day, right, is the mark, right? That's the mark. And you receive a mark. Y'all know that, right? And so in the last days, Satan will do everything in his power to get you off the mark. So you won't receive the mark. Are y'all with me? Now the mark that the Most High, a lot of people don't even know that the Most High actually has a mark where he marks you on your forehead and your left hand, not your right? The Most High marks you. It's called a tufafa and it's called the yad. The yad and the tufafa, he will mark you on your forehead and your left hand, and I'm not going to get into that lesson, but when you keep the Sabbath day holy, that's a very important part of you getting the mark, right? So what is Satan's job to do? Get us off the mark. So with me being a servant of the Most High, all praise to a higher, we're going to throw that out there. We got to go in these scriptures and we got to go in thoroughly to find out what the Most High wants us. This lesson if you're doing the equinox doctrine, that's going to be a wrap too. Because you can't line up the weekly with the day, with the monthly. You just can't do it. We about to prove that to you right now. All right, so we're going to start all the way back in the beginning. I know a lot of people, know all this stuff right here, and especially in our group, we done went over this several times. But we're going to start in the beginning. So let's go to Genesis. Genesis 1 and 1.
Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. In the beginning, the Most High created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of Ahia moved upon the face of the waters. And the Most High said, "Let there be light." And there was light. And Ahia saw the light, that it was good. The Most High divided the light from the darkness. The Most High called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day.
All right, so we see in the beginning the Most High created the heavens and the earth, right? And the earth was without form, void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, right? So he made light in darkness, right? He said, and the Most High called the light day, and the darkness he called night, and the evening and the morning was the first day. I know usually when I get in this doctrine, I have to prove when the day starts and all of that. The day starts at evening, right? Evening and morning. If you say evening and morning, then the next one has to be evening and morning. Wherever he starts at, that's where it's going to start at again, right? So if we say evening, then we got to start at evening again. So that will be from evening to evening. All right, so let's keep going.
Verse 6. And the Most High said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters." And Ahia made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And the Most High called the firmament heaven. And the evening and the morning were the second day. The Most High said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. The Most High called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called the seas. And the Most High saw that it was good. And the Higher said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind.
Hey, what verse you at?
11.
Jump down to 14. And Carter, share that into California Hebrew page. Oh, you did? All right.
Verse 14. And the Most High said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night. And let them be for signs, and for seasons, and for days and years.
All right, this is where it gets real interesting, right? He said, and the Most High said, let there be lights in the firmament of heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs, seasons, days, and years, right? All right, so let's get it.
And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so. And the Most High made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also.
All right, so the greater night was to rule what?
The day.
The day. The lesser light was to rule what?
The night.
All right, but so now the sun and the moon have some real important jobs, right? And we can't see, when we start pushing everything on the moon, we didn't took everything from the sun. Now the sun ain't even got no job. We take everything from the moon, now the sun, we take everything from the moon, now the moon don't have no job, right? So we got to make sure that we line it up the way the Most High wants us to do this. Let's keep going.
17. And the Most High set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And the Most High saw that it was good.
All right. So we on the sun and the moon. We got to find out what their jobs are, right? So now, let's go to Psalms 104:19. We're going to start here.
Psalm chapter 104, verse 19. He appointed the moon for seasons. The sun knows his going down.
So he appointed the moon for seasons, right? And the sun knows what's going down. Let's look up that word seasons, right? So the word season means appointed time, a fixed time or season, a festival, a year. It says essentially a place, meeting, a signal, appointed, sign, time, congregation, assembly, a feast, a appointed due season, assembly, and appointed time. So this appointed time is he said the moon is the appointed time for us to know when we are to assemble, when the feasts come in, and all of that, right? But now it's gonna get deep because we're gonna break it down because the moon starts it off, but the moon don't do every single thing because within those holy days the sun comes in too. We're gonna pull down in a minute.
Yeah.
All right, so now the word moon in the Hebrew is yorek, right? That's one of the words, right? So let's go to Psalms 81, verse 3.
Psalm chapter 81, verse 3. Blow up the trumpet in the new moon, in the feast day.
All right, so we blow a trumpet on the new moon, right? So we know that the new moon is the slither, right? We did a whole lesson on that. I can go back and I can't hit every single point of everything, but you do the moon from the slither. It was a guy named Halal II who actually tried to change the lunar cycle by changing he tried to change it from the slither to the dark moon, right? And so and then we had Constantine trying to change the Sabbath from the 7th day to the 1st day, all right? So those two dudes was basically trying to change the course of time and change the course of time for who? For the Hebrews, right? All right, he knew that they always work in the future, trying to make sure that when we get ready to start waking up, we was gonna be messing up, right? So it's up to us to go back in time. Remember, they record everything. If somebody was gonna try to change time, that's a huge thing because the whole world would have to be on one accord for the time to change, right? Okay, so that's why they talk about Halal II when he changed the no moon was called the Malad or the Moled, right? So it was no moon. Now if you go on your moon calendar, right? Everybody who be checking out the moon cycles, right? They gonna tell you that a dark moon is a new moon, and we never did it like that. And that was because of Halal II, right? You go to a Christian church, everybody going to church on Sunday thinking that that's the Sabbath day. That's the day they're supposed to worship and praise God, right? But where did they get that from? They got that from Constantine. So these two dudes came in as a team, and they was tag teaming off each other. I'm going to do the moon, you do the sun, right? And that's what they were doing. All right, so let's get deeper. Okay, so the word moon, right, it means month, right? So let's prove that out of the scriptures. Let's go to Apocrypha real quick. We're going to Sirach, chapter 43, verse 7. And this going to be a real deep lesson. We be going in on stuff man, you don't want to miss this. Don't go nowhere.
Sirach, Ecclesiastes. What did you say was
Sirach, or Ecclesiasticus, chapter 43, verse 7. For the moon is the sign of feast.
The moon is the sign of the what?
Feast.
The moon is the sign of the feast, right? Because when the slither comes in, that's how we're supposed to blow our trumpets at that new moon. We see something. And then 14 days after the new moon, we have what? A full moon, which is Passover. So we do Passover. Passover was supposed to be on a full moon, right? So these are the sign of the feast. Read.
So from the moon is the sign of feast, a light that decreases in her perfection. The month is called after her name, increasing wonderfully in her changes, being an instrument of the armies above, shining in the firmament of heaven.
All right, so he said the month is called after her name, right? So the word moon comes from the word month, right? So we just proved that out of scriptures, right? Okay, so anybody know that the stars have a job too in the constellations? Right, so let's go to Job chapter 38 and 31. And while he getting that, right, so let's just say we was on the ship, right, and we didn't know our directions, right? We didn't know which way to go, right? So we in the middle of the ocean. I'm like, man, I need to go east. So what would I do to go east?
Look for the brightest star, which is the North Star.
No, I said east.
Okay.
Now look for the north.
No. Come on now. The sun rises in the what? East. And sets on the what? West. All right, so now I got east and west with the sun. Right now, if I want to find out what's north and south, I look for the North Star. Right? So these are just things that we do If we in critical situations, then we got to use the constellations to find out exactly which direction we want to go. But it's even deeper than that. Let's go.
Now, Job chapter 38, verse 31. Can you bind the sweet influences of Pleiades or loose the bands of Orion?
All right, so Pleiades and Orions is star constellations that's in the sky, and they are in the Bible. Keep reading.
Can you bring forth Mazzaroth in this season? Or can you guide Arcturus with his sons?
All right, so let's go to the next one. Let's go to Job 9:7.
Job chapter 9 and verse 7. Which commands the sun, and it rises not, and seals up the stars, which alone spreads out the heavens, and treads upon the waves of the sea, which makes Arcturus, Orion, and Pleiades, and the chambers of the south, which does great things past finding out, yea, and wonders without number.
All right, so here it is once again, star constellations. Okay, so now we at the moon cycle. Now we gotta understand, when we at a moon cycle is consistent. It does not stop, right? And so I know some people be like, well, you're gonna have a no moon for three days. That's not true. The moon is gonna be constantly moving, and it's gonna be moving in a 30-day count. Right? And this is a whole nother lesson, but any count that you do in the Bible, every single count will be 30 days, 30 days, 30 days. So if we did a count, I don't care what it is, it's going to be a 30-day count for you to get your answer, right? So the moon and the months, right? The moon is a word for a month. So that means that the months are in 30 days. So 30 times 12 is 360 days, according to the Bible. It's not 364. It's not 365. It's 65 and a half and all this stuff. I know that's what the world tell you, but according to the Bible, it is only 360 days, right? And even if anybody want to go into the book of Jasher, I will prove you wrong there too. Because remember, they putting their hands in our books. And I will show you, and we're going to do a count, and I guarantee it's going to be 360 days. You will not be able to get out of it. All right, so now, the word week is Sabbath, right? The word week in Hebrew is the word Sabbath, right? It means... Shabbat, right? And it means to seven oneself, that is swear repeating or declaration of 7 times, right? So what this is saying is like a week is continual, right? We can never stop a week. It's going to be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and it is never going to stop. You will never be able to stop a week. You can't stop a week and say, let's stop the week real quick and see what day. Let's look at the moon and see what tomorrow going to be. We already know what tomorrow going to be because a week never stops. Right? We're going to prove that. All right, so he go a 7-day week, right? And they even got evening to evening in here. I love this, right? So they show you that it's evening to evening, evening to evening, evening to evening, and this is how you get your count. And this 7-day chart never stops. After 7th day, there will be the first day. It is impossible with a weekly cycle to stop. It's not going to go to 8. It's not going to go to 9. It's not going to go to 10. It's not going to go to 15. Right? So when you see numbers, when the Most High is counting and it has anything over a 7, right? he's not talking about a weekly cycle. He's talking about the monthly cycle, right? Even the world that we are in today does the same exact thing. We have January. What do they call it today? I know, and they swear we go by the Gregorian calendar, but we don't. But for everybody to get understanding, we're gonna use the Gregorian calendar to get an understanding of how they even know that they gotta be like this. So what's today's date?
11.
It's June 11th, right?
Yes.
All right, so June 11th, but we are in what day? The 7th day. So you're going to have a 7th day with another 11 on top of it, and then showing what month you in. Are y'all, this is stuff we're supposed to be learning in elementary school.
They ain't teaching us that.
It's a shame that we gotta fight for everything with the Most High, but I'm ready for the fight. You better believe that.
Yes, sir.
I'm ready for this fight. Okay, so now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 never stops. It's gonna start all over again. Gonna be back at the first day, and so it's impossible. Why would I have to look at the moon to know what tomorrow gonna be when we are already in a cycle of 7 days? And it's repeated over and over. The whole doctrine should be over after this, but we gotta go deeper than this, right? All right, so here we go. Okay, so here we go. So now we're looking at a Gregorian calendar, right? So as you can see, they had 1 on Thursday, 2 on Friday, and 3 on Saturday, which would be the Sabbath, right? But do you see all of those in red? Right? All of that line in red is the Sabbath. So now remember, Sunday is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you have 2 counts. You have a count coming from the moon, and then you have a count that's coming from the sun. And the sun count never stops. Right? Everybody with me? All right, so now we're going to get into something, right? Okay, so now, if we was to try to push the weekly with the monthly, right? We know that 7 times 4 is 28.
Yeah.
Right? But the moon cycle is in 30 days. Where's these other 2 days at? How we gonna justify so we saying the week stops, and then what will we do with 2 extra days? So these are things that just cannot, and even if you was going to sit up here and say, oh, we miss a day and then we start the next day, we miss a day and we start, I'm going to prove that wrong too. You can't, when the Most High got his count going, you can't show me nowhere in the world he tell you to stop the count.
Stop.
It is nowhere in the Bible that I'm supposed to skip this day and then count that day.
You don't say that nowhere.
Right? And we going to prove that too. We about to prove everything today, right? All right, so let's go to Leviticus chapter 23, verse 15. We finna prove that right now.
Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 15. And you shall count unto you from the morrow after the Sabbath, from the day that you brought the sheaf of the wave offering. 7 Sabbaths shall be complete. Even unto the morrow after the 7th Sabbath shall you number 50 days, and you shall offer a new meat offering unto the Most High.
All right, did y'all hear that? Okay, so y'all know what holy that is, right? That's the Feast of Weeks, right?
Feast of Weeks.
So we will use the moon, right, to find out when is our new year, the first day of the year, according to the moon. And I'm talking about the monthly cycle, not the weekly cycle, right? Okay, so now we got the first day of the month. We on the 14th day of the month. We got Passover. All of this is being calculated by the moon. Then we got unleavened bread, right? That continues the same count from the moon, right? But now, all of a sudden, the Most High has switched the game up on it.
Yes.
Right? He tells you to count by weeks now. And so with him telling you to count by weeks, now he's telling you to use the sun. Do you see how powerful the Most High is? He said, now I want want you to use the sun count, and I want you to count I want you to count consecutively 7 Sabbaths, right? And then on that next day will be the 50th day. We're doing it right now, right? So now let's count. Okay, so we're gonna see when we had to look at the moon. So we had to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's the first week, right? You didn't look at the moon.
Right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's the second week. We never looked at the moon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's the third week. We never looked at the moon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's the fourth week. We still didn't look at the moon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now we on the 5th week, and we still never looked at the moon. And guess what? We went over a month. How we gonna go over a month when we supposed to be like, wait a minute, is the sun out? I'm gonna stand in limbo until I see the moon come out, and then we're gonna know what day is the first day. That just sounds ridiculous. We gotta do that for the month, but we can't do that for the week. This is where everybody is messing up. So this right here is a dagger. This cuts off anybody's head that try to put the weeks with the day, with the months. You can't do it. This even killed the equinox doctrine. You can't put the equinox. They say that every single Sabbath, the holy day is going to fall on. Do you know that's impossible? For the Sabbath to land on every. That means that we're going to get into that in a minute, because I'm jumping ahead. But right now, right, we on 7 Sabbaths. So we had to count 7 Sabbaths, and we had to get the 50th day. And we never used the moon. So that's right there is telling you that we don't have to use the moon for our weekly Sabbath, right? All right, but we're going to give you even more. That ain't good enough for you. Let's go to Exodus chapter 16, verse 1.
So already, you just proved right there that it's always 7. 7, 7, 7, 7, 7.
Right, we doing it right now. We doing Feast of Weeks. Some people did their Feast of Weeks last week. Hey, we doing ours this week, right? Because we counted 50 days. We counted 7 Sabbaths, and it's on the 50th day. So we use the sun cycle to find these days, right? So now we're gonna get real deep. Let's go to Exodus chapter 16, verse 1.
Exodus chapter 16, verse 1. And they took their journey from Elim, and all the congregation of the children of Israel came unto the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai, on the 15th day of the second month after their departing out of the land of Egypt.
All right, so what day was it?
15th day.
Oh, the second month, right?
Second month.
So that's the day after the new moon. After the full moon, right? Because the 14th day is the full moon. So the 15th day is the day right after the full moon. Are y'all paying attention?
Yeah.
It's about to get deep. It's about to get deep. It's about to get deep in the water, and you're going to have to make a decision, right? Okay, so we're in the second month, 15th day. Everybody keep that in your head, right? Now,
Second month, 15th day.
Verse 2. And the whole congregation of the children of Israel murmured against Moses and Aaron in the wilderness. And the children of Israel said unto them, Would to the Most High we had died by the hand of the Lord in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the flesh pot, and when we did eat bread to the full. For you have brought us forth into this wilderness to kill this whole assembly with hunger. Then said the Most High unto Moses, Behold, I will rain bread from heaven for you, and the people shall go out and gather a certain rate every day, that I may prove them, whether they will walk in my law or no. And it shall come to pass, that on the 6th day they shall prepare that which they bring in, and it shall be twice as much as they gather daily. And Moses and Aaron said unto all the children of Israel, At even then you shall know that the Most High has brought you out of the land of Egypt. And in the morning, then you shall see the glory of the Most High.
All right, so he said the evening and the morning, right? So he said for 6 days he was going to do what? He was going to show miracles at evening and in the morning. Let's find out what these miracles are. Let's go.
Okay. It's manna.
Verse 7. And in the morning, then you shall see the glory of the Most High, for that he hears your murmurings against the Most High. And what are we that you murmur against us? And Moses said, this shall be, when the Most High shall give you in the evening flesh to eat, and in the morning bread to the full. For that the Most High hears your murmurings, which you murmur against him. And what are we? Your murmurings are not against us, but against Ahiah. And Moses spoke unto Aaron, say unto all the congregation of the children of Israel, come near before the Most High, for he has heard your murmurings. And it came to pass, as Aaron spoke unto the whole congregation of the children of Israel, that they looked toward the wilderness, and behold, the glory of Ahiah appeared in the cloud. And the Most High spoke unto Moses, saying, I have heard the murmurings of the children of Israel. Speak unto them, saying, at even you shall eat flesh, and in the morning you shall be filled with bread, and you shall know that I am the Most High your God. And it came to pass that at even the quails came up and covered the camp. And in the morning the dew lay down about the host. And when the dew that lay was gone up, behold, upon the face of the wilderness there lay a small round thing, as small as the hoarfrost on the ground. And when the children of Israel saw it, they said one to another, it is manna, for they wist not what it was.
All right, so now, what day was it that the Most High gathered all of them together to tell this?
15th day.
It was the 15th day, but it was going to be, at evening, it was going to be what? The first day of the week. Woo! Fire. Game over. Over. We got some people that say, I don't believe in the New Testament, so I'm doing the moon from, my Sabbath for the moon. Okay, so this is just for you. We in a tour right now, right? We was on the 15th day of the month, right? But it was at evening, it was going to be the first day of the week. How you going to get out of that?
Teach.
How you going to get out of that?
That's the first week.
Humble yourself, Hebrews, and I'm doing this for us to wake up. I'm doing this for us to see the kingdom. I'm doing this for us to be humble and say, hey man, I messed up. A lot of people is leading congregations telling the people this. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And you leading all of them astray and straight to hell. So we just showed you in the Bible that it was the 15th day.
Second
right?
month.
But the 15th day was the first day. How you gonna get out of that?
Come on, first day of the week. And then weeks after
Come on.
That's it up there.
Man. All right, so look.
You catch
That was a dagger. That was a dagger right there.
No,
now,
that was an uppercut.
for the people who know that the New Testament is real, right?
Let's go there.
Let's get on that. Let's prove both sides. So you can't run from either one. So I already hit you with one, showing you that it was the 15th day, but it still was the first day.
Come on.
It ain't no getting
Makes sense to me.
Come on, man. Come on, dude. All right, but let's go. All right, Luke chapter 22, verse 1. Here we go.
Now the feast of unleavened bread drew near, which is called the Passover.
Okay, so now we in the New Testament. We're talking about the Passover, right? Let's go to John 18 and 38 real quick.
You got to prove the same thing in the new.
About to prove the same thing in the new, right?
John chapter 18, verse 38. Pilate said unto him, What is truth? And when he had said this, he went out again unto the Jews, and said unto them, I find in him no fault at all. But you have a custom that I should release unto you one at the Passover. Will you therefore that I release unto you the King of the Jews? Then cried they all again, saying, Not this man, but Barabbas. Now Barabbas was a robber.
All right, so this is when Christ was about to be what? Crucified. Right? And what time was it when he was going to get crucified? It was the Passover. They said, look, the Passover is coming. We can let one person go. You have a custom of this.
Wow.
Right? We can let one of them go. But all of the crowd said, let Barabbas go. He's the robber. Let him go. They wanted to kill Christ. Right? Now, let's get deeper. Right? Let's go to John 19:38.
John chapter 19, verse 38. And after this, Joseph of Arimathea, being a disciple of Yeshua, but secretly for fear of the Jews, besought Pilate that he might take away the body of Yeshua. And Pilate gave him leave. He came therefore and took the body of Yeshua. And there came also Nicodemus, which at the first came to Yeshua by night, and brought a mixture of myrrh and aloes, about 100 pound weight. Then took they the body of Yeshua, and wound it in linen cloth with spices, as the manner of the Jews is to bury. Now in the place where he was crucified, there was a garden, and in the garden a new sepulchre, wherein was never man yet laid. There laid they Yeshua, therefore, because of the Jews' preparation day, for the sepulchre was nigh at hand.
All right, so when the sun, they had to hurry up and do this because they knew when the sun goes down, they was in preparation day. So they had to hurry up and fix Yeshua up so they can get him ready for his burial, right? So now, he was in the grave how long?
3 days.
3 days and 3 nights. 3 whole days and 3 whole nights,
yeah,
right?
That's separate.
Okay, so now John 20:1, let's go.
John chapter 20, verse 1. The first day of the week comes Mary Magdalene early.
Okay, so now she comes at the first day of the week, right? Go ahead.
When it was yet dark.
When it was yet what?
Dark.
When it was yet what?
Dark.
Okay, so it was dark, and it was still considered the first day. So this is for people to just be like, oh, yes, when the sun come up, it's going to be, no. It's evening to evening. They was already, the sun didn't even come up yet, and it still was considered the first day. We see, when we battle this stuff, man, you got to go through everything, because everybody trying to change the Sabbath day. And they don't even understand that this spirit's trying to get you off the day so you can miss the mark. Are y'all hearing me?
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so now let's do a recap, right? So Christ is getting crucified in the midst of the what? In the midst of the what? He's getting crucified in the midst of the week, right? And with him getting crucified in the midst of the week, it was called what? Passover, right? And then Mary Magdalene comes when it was dark, and it was the first day. She came 3 days later, right? So if we was using the moon cycle to find our Sabbath, right? The 14th day would have been the second Sabbath, right? 7 and 7 is what? 14, right? So 14 is the 14th day of the month. So y'all would have, and some people were like, well, we can skip a day and it was 15. It don't matter. It was still in the middle of the week, 3 days later after that, it was considered the first day. So it's impossible for you to have a Sabbath here 7-day Sabbath here. Let me get this straight. A 7-day Sabbath in the middle of the week, and then another 7-day Sabbath 3 days later. 3 to 2 days later. Right? So we just hit you with the Old Testament, and then we hit you with the New Testament. Right? And so now there ain't no, you can't, how you gonna get out of this though? Like every time I talk to somebody about this moon doctrine or equinox doctrine, they can never get out of this. They be like, well, this is just something I can't explain, right? So if you can't explain this, how are you gonna follow something that you can't explain?
Come on.
How you gonna teach people stuff that you can't explain?
Come on, that part.
We understand why it was the 14th day in the middle of the week. We get it. Matter of fact, let's look at it, right? So this is Christ's crucifixion. So we got first day, second day, third day, fourth day, right?
15.
So on the 14th day, y'all see this? Oh, let me get my little laser light. Hold on a second. Where is the laser?
Break out the laser.
Do I got a laser? Oh. Let's see. I thought I had a laser light on here.
Bruh.
Oh, well, I don't. I thought I did, though. Oh, displays. All right, I don't. Y'all can see my cursor right here, though?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we got first day, second day, third day, right? So on this fourth day right here, this is when Christ was crucified. And they said they did it at 3 and got him in the grave right before sunset, right? So now we got 1, 2, 3, right? These are the 3 days he was in the grave, right? And it was the 14th day of the month, but he went in on the fourth day of the week, right? And when Mary Magdalene came, she rose. I mean, he was gone on the first day of the week. When she came, it was still nighttime right here, and she was coming. He was already gone. Y'all with me?
That was the first day of the week.
That was the first day of the week. So it's impossible to bring a weekly with a monthly. You can't do it. You can't. It's impossible. Your counts ain't gonna add up. The Bible ain't gonna add up. You just gonna be all over the place, right? So now, the question is, how do we know that this Saturday, or Sabbath day that we have today, and we don't go by the Gregorian calendar, right? If we was going by the Gregorian calendar, we would be saying that January the 1st is the first day of the week.
I mean, first
And
day
we
of
don't.
the year.
We go by when the moon comes in spring is the first day of the week.
A year.
I mean, first day of the year. Oh, thank you. If we doing a video and everybody was trying to get me on something, he said this and that, and they'll forget everything I just said so far just for that one thing. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so now we about to get real deep. All right, so let's find out. Do the Most High show us signs that we on this day? And one thing I will tell you, if you really, really into the truth, like spiritually, the Most High would. How many people in here got miracles that happened to them when they was keeping the Shabbat the way we keep the Shabbat? Man, everybody's hand is going up right now, right? Everybody's hand going up right there. Let me see something. Okay, so bam.
What can you tell us about the Sabbath?
Hold on. I'm trying to see how I blow this up. I made a video. Oh, you know what? Let me see if I can go to my projects. Oh, here we go. Oh, you go. Oh, man. I need to pull my thing over a little bit.
Whole screen.
Oh, man. All right, bear with me a little bit. I'm trying to figure out. Oh, there we go. All right, here we go.
Yeah. the river beyond which the 10 lost tribes were exiled.
Read the lights.
So there's a lot all over Midrashim and legend about Nahar Sambatyon. I'll try and go a little bit into the basics. The Sambatyon River is already mentioned in the Gemara as a reality that existed at the time of the Gemara, to the extent that apparently they knew where it was. They were able to, everyone in the world, even Goyim, knew about it. The Gemara tells us that a Goy asked the Akiva, prove it to me that Hashem created the world in 6 days and then rested on Shabbos. So I can prove it to you. Let's take a look at the Sambatyon River that is there for 6 days. It shoots up stones, and on Shabbos it rests, which means it was a reality that they knew in the world. What is this Sambatyon? It's a river that shoots up stones and has great rapids or whatever it may be throughout the 6 days of the week. On the Shabbos it rests.
Oh, that's what you said. Wow. That thing stops.
Did y'all hear what he said?
Yeah.
This river full of rocks, right?
Phenomenal.
On the Sabbath day, it stops.
That changes on Shabbos, that shows the idea of Shabbos in the actual physical world.
Well, right, that's like a beat.
We are told that the Aseret HaShvatim, the 10 Shvatim, they were exiled to the other side of Nahar Sambatyon in order that no one can be able to reach them. There are different legends regarding that. There's a famous legend, a story that's traditionally been passed on and taught for generations about the Baal HaAkdamos, about the one author of the Akdamas, which is said in many shuls on Shavuos, that he actually went to bring someone. There was a big Gzeira in the city, just in short, there was a big Gzeira of a Chashaf, a magic magician that came, that priest that was trying to convince the Jews to Chas v'Shalom Shmadzech, to convert, and he had to bring them in a dream, go to the other side, go, and how to go, and which way to go to the other side of the Sambatyon River, and you will find over there a Jew who will go back to your town, and he'll be able to fight with this power of impurity. And the way he was able to do it was because it was Pikuach Nefesh. It was in order to save the lives of the Jews in that town. He was able to go on Shabbos when it's not shooting up stones. The same thing with the other person. The other tzaddik from there was able to come back on Shabbos, but he had to remain in the other side of the Aseret HaShvatim and of Sambatyon, and the other tzaddik from there had to remain on that side of Sambatyon. That's a famous legend that there is. Much more than that, there's a lot in Midrashim, etc. The other thing, which isn't really directly about Nahar Sambatyon, but it's regarding the Aseret HaShvatim, there's one thing which is brought even in Halacha. The Rif brings it, and the Rishonim brings it. There's someone called Eldad Hadani. He was a world traveler. And he said he was from Shevet Dan, and he came from the other side of Sambatyon, from the land of the 10 Shvatim, and he told Chacham things about it to the extent that he brought this back in the earlier time of the Rishonim, before the Rif, but it was earlier than that. He came throughout the lands. He's in fact the one who went also to the land of Kuzar, where there was the Jewish kingdom of Gedem. And he brought with him a book called Hilchas Yerushalayim, which had halachas. It's not mentioned much about it. It's just one thing in the laws of Shchita. It's mentioned what it said. What Eldad Adani brought in Hilchas Yerushalayim. It's not a halach. We don't follow it, but it does say that we should go to Chumrah, which is the fact that you have to go to the mikveh before shechting, and the shechet has to have gone to the mikveh beforehand. Shechet has to wear yarmulke, has to have made a bracha, otherwise the shechita is not good. So the halacha is not that it's not good, but the chumrah were careful about it. That was something in the Hilchas Yerushalayim, in the laws from the Aseret HaShvatim that were brought from Elvis.
All right, so y'all did hear him though, right?
I couldn't understand a word.
Okay, all right, so look. let me break it down. All right, so he was breaking down that Sabbathean River, right? Y'all seen all those rocks. It stops on the Sabbath. So what he was talking about was a story about, he said,
Jewish guy went on the other
yeah,
side of the
it
river.
was a guy who practiced magic and he wanted to cast spells against the children of Israel, and they told him to go across the river on the Sabbath because he would be able to get across because it stops on the Sabbath, right? So this is what he was talking about. Okay, so now this is a whole nother river, right? This is a whole nother one right here, right? Hey, Akari, make sure they can see everything on the screen. Okay, so now we're about to go into this other one right here.
The place where Jerusalem began, a sewage pipe explodes. The municipality sends in construction workers to repair the sewage pipe. But the city of David is not just another part of Jerusalem. And here, when a sewage pipe bursts, you don't only send in construction crews, you also have to send in archaeologists. And they begin to hear from the bulldozers and dump trucks scraping and scratching. It doesn't sound right. They clear everyone out. And it turns out that in repairing the sewage pipe, the construction crews had inadvertently uncovered a series of ancient stone steps dating back thousands of years. And they realized they had discovered the steps leading down to the Pool of Siloam, the Shiloah Pool. Now, what was the Pool of Siloam? To answer that question, you have to go back some 2,700 years to the time of the biblical King Hezekiah, direct descendant of King David. Now, at that time, the armies of King Sennacherib of Assyria are marching on Jerusalem. Hezekiah understands there's going to be war, and he begins making his preparations, and one of the main things he does is to divert the waters of the Gihon Spring, the life source of Jerusalem during the times of the Bible, to flow entirely within the walls of the city of David. The Bible mentions that it was Hezekiah who built the Pool of Siloam. Where I'm standing right now in the Pool of Siloam dates back some 2,000 years to the end of the Second Temple period. However, archaeologists believe that the original Pool of Siloam, dating back to the time of Hezekiah, is located directly beneath my feet. The Pool of Siloam has significance not just for protecting the water of Jerusalem, but also for another reason. The Bible tells us that there were 3 times during the year: Passover, Pentecost, Tabernacle, Pesach, Shavuot, and Sukkot, when all of Israel would have to go on pilgrimage up to the temple. Now, before you can do that, one must purify themselves. The Pool of Siloam was a giant ritual bath, or mikvah, to allow the tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and millions of pilgrims going up to the temple to first purify themselves before beginning the ascent up the temple from here to the Pool of Siloam. When you're in the place where the Bible happens, the words of the Bible come to life.
The city of David.
All right, so I'm gonna have to remember that pool because I'm gonna go into some history and I'm gonna show y'all what's significant why I brought that pool up. But let's keep going.
There's beavers in there.
Why did they pick Saturday? Didn't even know it's Saturday. Maybe it was just a coincidence.
Oh, that's right. You can tell by the animals. The animals know the same. Beaver girl.
Beavers.
We'll just keep watching and see what's on their screen.
Another week of observation, and the beavers were out every day, busy as usual. Sunday through Friday, at about the same time every day. And then came Saturday. And just like the first week, all was quiet again. This continued on week after week. month after month, summer and winter, with the same results.
My dad's been watching these beavers for about 16 years.
Dang.
He's been getting to be kind of an expert on beaver behavior, at least with this family of beavers.
16 years. I thought
You
you
did
was
that
gonna
for
say.
16 years.
I thought you was gonna say a couple of hours.
They seem like normal
a couple
animals,
of days.
except we've never once seen them out on Saturday.
Notice something interesting about beavers. You see how close they're cut.
All right, the beavers keep the Sabbath, right? Who gonna let the beavers beat them keeping the Sabbath?
On Friday night and stay there until Saturday night. They don't come out of their hives. And so that's one example. There's the other example. How many of you have heard of the Seventh-day Ox story?
Nikolai Panchuk was a Christian pastor who got sentenced to a Siberian prison for hard labor. Nikolai was a faithful Sabbath keeper, which meant he wouldn't work on Saturdays. This got him into all kinds of trouble at the prison camp. Each time he refused to work on Saturdays, he was confined inside a small wooden box for 10 days. Now, this nearly killed him, yet he still remained faithful to his convictions about the Sabbath. After being confined in the box several times, Nikolai was finally able to make a bargain with one of the wardens. Here's the deal he was offered. If he could get all his week's work done in 6 days, he could have Saturdays off. Unfortunately, he was given the job of hauling water for the camp. He was to drive an ox with a cart all the way down to the spring to draw water, then haul it back up to the camp. The problem was with the ox. The ox was stubbornly slow, and the more he tried to motivate the beast, the slower it would go. So he was constantly behind on his work, and by Thursday, he was so far behind schedule that it looked impossible to get his 7 days worth of work done in only 6. But when Friday came, something unusual happened. The ox could hardly wait to get to work, and as soon as it was hitched up to the cart, it started to run. To and from the spring, it continued running all day long, so that just before the sun set on Friday, Nikolai got all the water hauled for the entire week, and he got Saturday off. This continued every week. The ox would be slow Sunday through Thursday, but it would run on Friday. And even after Nikolai Panchuk...
We got some of them oxes in the group right now.
the same pattern.
He said we got something in the camp right now.
All right, so before we do this one, right? Okay, so we heard two Edomites tell us this, right? Through their research. That one of them said that the beavers keep the Sabbath. They work all 6 days, but on that Sabbath day, boy, they stop working. And you know a beaver be working. They be building dams and all that, right?
Yeah,
okay, so then we go to this guy who had the ox that would work super hard on Friday so it could be off on the Sabbath, right? Okay, so now here go an Israelite through his little story, because I know we got people watching and they're going to be like, well, them is 2 Edomites. We don't believe them. Okay, well, let's believe this Israelite brother. And an Israelite brother that know the truth too. So let's hear what he got to say.
Shalom, shalom, family. Hey, look, I know this. I want to do a quick video. What I'm getting ready to show y'all is it's not strange. It actually made perfect sense. I heard about it, but I didn't quite believe it until I kept my eyes open and peeled. But I noticed that you see this tree behind me here. Okay, we call it a plum tree. And I literally see bees
working this tree, like, collecting pollen and making honey with, doing that job. I literally see them working this tree every day of the week. And today is the Sabbath, okay? And yet I come out here and I don't see not a single bee. I'm telling you now, one, look, I don't cut my grass, y'all don't laugh at my yard. I ain't got no lawnmower, I'm working on it. But I got these flowers, these trees, y'all see them. Okay, and just like, I guess 2 days ago, I had looked at my yard and I saw a bunch of bees flying around, and I was congratulating them like, y'all some smart bees, y'all doing y'all thing, and I'm thinking of the Father, and how he be talking about the ants and how they work and stuff like that. But so every day I wake up and this is at the point where I'm glad to see the bees working, because they setting a fine example according to the word of the law, But every day I come out here and I see these things working, and today is the Sabbath, and I don't see not a single bee out here diligently working on the Sabbath, right? So I'm telling y'all, nature is starting to tune up. Nature is starting to get back in its place. I'm telling y'all don't realize it, but things seem like they're shaking up, but they're actually becoming unshaken. And as the world becomes unshaken, judgment is going to start becoming quicker and quicker. Sooner or later, we gonna wake up, and judgment gonna be immediate, because everything is tuning back up right now. I'm telling y'all, look, and I used to see these beautiful bees out here working, and I don't see them no more. So y'all get ready, because this is happening. The discord is becoming organized now, harmony now. The inharmony is starting to tune back up, and it's going to be a great shaking in the earth for things to be tuned right back up. I'm telling you, and that's what judgment is. Just literally everything being reset and put back to normal. So just doing a quick video to let y'all know, hey, the bees know the Sabbath. Do you?
All right. Okay, so y'all got that, right? So we went into animals and insects that keep the Sabbath day, right? All right, so now even deeper, right? Our bodies are in a 7-day cycle, right? They said if you have pneumonia, they would try to attack it on the 7th day because it digresses, right? It be like real hitting you hard, but then on the 7th day they try to hit it with a gang of medicine just to, so you can conquer the disease, right? So your body and everything is moving in a 7-day pattern, right? Okay, hold on. So we finna get even deeper than this. Let me push it straight or something. They got my computer tripping right now. Devil is pissed off. All right, so now. Okay, so we seen all that. So we about to get a little bit deeper. Okay, so now remember that other river I was telling you about, right? Okay, so now what we about to prove, now this is another Hebrew scholar, right? He's a historian. He's the one who gave me the pictures of King James' mom and dad, right? So everybody was like trying to figure out what he looked like, right? He went all the way to their mama and their daddy to show me what he looked like, right? So his mama and his daddy was black, and I think I still got some pictures around here somewhere. But we got pictures of King James' mama and daddy being black, being Hebrew Israelites, right? Okay, so now this is this river that he's been studying, and we're gonna break it out what he said. All right, so read that. Is it hard for you to see? So this is Brother Kwam. This is his analysis.
The Gihon Spring is the main water supply of two vital pools at the temple, Bethesda, and Siloam. This was an endless water supply that only ran at certain times beneath the Temple Mount of the city of David in Bethlehem. The system was connected by King Hezekiah via an underground level tunnel across the entire city. With the large caverns connecting this system were filled at the water drawing ceremony of Sukkot. It completed a citywide siphon that self-powered itself as a massive, sustainable, powered water system. Further, Gihon is an Ethiopic term that describes the world's longest river, also known as the Nile River, or the river beyond Egypt.
The water that y'all seen, that's when people would come to the Sabbath and get baptized in that pool, right? Now remember, we had a blind man. He was over there at that pool, and then they had a guy who couldn't walk. Remember they had to dip him in the pool. They said the angels stored the pool of water up. That was fresh water, right? That was living water that was coming from a spring. And that spring would come and flood on the Sabbath so everybody can hit that water on the Shabbat. Are y'all hearing me? Now, let's get into, that's proven. All right? So now we go into the book of Josephus, right? Chapter 5, right? All right, so what does it say right here? It's like a picture. I'll take a picture of it.
So this is concerning the Sabbatic rivers which Titus saw as he was journeying through Syria. And how the people of Antioch came with a petition to Titus against the Jews that were rejected by him, as also concerning Titus and Vespasian's triumph. Now Titus Caesar tarried some time at Berytus, as we told you before. He thence removed and exhibited magnificent shows in all those cities of Syria through which he went, and made use of the captive Jews as public instances of the destruction of that nation. He then saw a river as he went along, of such a nature as deserves to be recorded in history. It runs in the middle between Arcaea, belonging to Agrippa's kingdom, and Raphania. It has somewhat very peculiar in it. For when it runs, its current is strong and has plenty of water, after which its springs fail for 6 days together, and leave its channels dry, as anyone may see. After which days it runs on the 7th day as it did before, and as though it had undergone no change at all. It has also been observed to keep this order perpetually and exactly, when it is that they call it the Sabbatic river, that name being taken from the sacred 7th day among the Jews.
All right, y'all seen that? All right, in the book of Josephus. All right, so now let's get deeper. I mean, we didn't hit with y'all with so much stuff. The doctrine should be over, right? And so people, I'm not attacking you. So when I'm doing these doctrines, it's so many people that hit me up asking me, Malak, what about this and what about this and what about that? I do this all day long. If anybody knows me on a weekly basis, I'm battling every single scripture all day long. I'm battling, is it sunrise, the sunrise? We do it by the moon? Is it 12 hours? All of that. And it ain't just that. It's everything, right? So I'm not coming directly at you. I'm coming at the doctrine. The doctrine has to be stopped because the doctrine is wrong, right? So I got people that's watching this that's close to me, right? And they like, oh man, why he had to come at me, right? I'm not coming at you, I'm coming at your doctrine, and if you continue to teach it after this, I'm coming after you, straight up, right? Because I'm a warrior for the Most High, and if you can't prove why you're doing it, don't teach it to the rest of the children of Israel to lead them astray.
That's right.
Our job is to make sure that we make it into this kingdom and we keep these commandments thoroughly so we can make it in, right? We everything over here in California Hebrews, we can prove what we believe. Be able to prove what you believe. And so if you're going to continue teaching, I'm going to put up videos so they can have an option. They're not just going to be able to listen to you. They're going to have, oh, let me check this one out. Oh, shoot, he's wrong. Let me get back over here on the right thing. Right, you're going to get embarrassed. Don't be embarrassed, man. That's all right, so let's keep going. We're going to go deeper, right? Okay, so we know that America called the 7-day Saturday, right? But do you know what it's called in Mexico? Sabbath, right? You know what Sabbath means? Sabbath. What does it mean in Russia, right? I don't know how to say that word. You don't say that word? Soma, it means Sabbath, right? So now watch this. In French, how do they say it? Samedi. This is still Sabbath. Now, they're not saying Saturday, they're saying Sabbath, right? So we went to Mexico, we went to, what was the other one? Russia, we went to France. Now let's go here. And it's 100 other ones, right? So let's read these, Elder. These are all over the world.
So in Arabic it's Sabbath. In Armenian it's Shabbat. In Bosnia it's Suboto. Bulgarian Sabota. In Corsican it's Sabato. In Croatian it's Subota. In Czechoslovakia it's Sobota. In Georgia, the Russian Georgia, Sabati. In Greek, Sabato, and they pronounce their V's with a V, so it's Sabato. In Hebrew, it's Shabbat. In Indonesian, it's Sabtu. In Italian, it's Sabato. In Latin, it's Sabato. In Maltese, it's Isibit. In Polish, Sobota. In Portuguese, Sábado. In Romanian, Sambata. In Slovenia, Sobota. In Somali, in Africa, so the whole world is in a system designed by the Sabbath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Sabbath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Sabbath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Sabbath. And it never, ever changes. All praises to a higher. All right. We had to go through this. I plead with Israel, right? Please watch this video, critique this video, study this video, be mad at this video, I don't care. But the truth went out. I'm going to tell y'all that right now. The truth went out, right? We proved that through the animals, the insects, the rivers is keeping the Sabbath. But you don't want to keep the Sabbath. You want to change the Sabbath to another day, right? Remember, in the last days, this is going to happen. We right here at the cuff. And then you want to run off and start, you're going to go wrong with see how many people you get, how many other Israelites you can pull out to go wrong. Our job is to keep everybody in right now. We don't know when Christ is going to crack that sky. So whenever he cracks that sky, you need to be ready. You need to be keeping a real Shabbat. And I will say this all praise to Hayat one more time. Shalom, shalom, Shabbat shalom.